I am thrilled to have my longtime great friend, Michele Tajariol, on the show. Mickey is the vice president and co-owner of Tajmac-ZPS. Many of you may know the company as the builder of the ZPS multi-spindle, or they used to be called Euroturn in the United States. They make a lot of different machines, but in my experience, that's been their pride and joy, their multi-spindles. They also own Wickman. And I've known Mickey 20 years since he came to...
No, 20. Oh, yeah, it's 20 years.
20
Yeah,
years,
has,
like year
yeah,
2000.
2000. No, 99.
99? My God.
99.
Yeah, so
So
I was
21,
19,
21.
and he was 20. How old are you?
I'm 43, so I was 20, 22, yeah.
Yeah.
That can be good because I came back from US and then a couple of years later I moved here, so yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. So what I want to do, I want to talk about a lot of things in this interview. I want to get some background on the company ZPS, and then I want to get your story, and then I want to get a little technical. I want to know the scoop on your equipment. What are you thinking about that?
Are we live now?
We've been live.
Okay. I want to know more personal information. I want to know. I want to know about.
I agree. Regular work is boring, so.
I want to know about how your dad bought ZPS in the first place. Back
Oh,
in when was it? 1998.
in 2000.
Okay, well,
In 2000, because
first we
this
have
year
to
we.
back up a little bit of Tajmac. What is Tajmac? When was it founded? Just give us the real brief story, and then we'll talk about getting ZPS, etc. Because this is important, how we know each other, etc.
Don't blow here because the smoke is coming on the. Okay, so we have to. It's a long story in that case. Tajmac. Tajmac is the name of the company, and the origin is Tajariol Macchine. So this was founded by grandfather, so father of my father,
What was his name?
Amedeo
Amadeo.
Tajariol. Tajmac Tajariol Macchine. Company was founded 30 something. It was already active during the Second World War, and it was producing a lathe that was used for mechanical maintenance on track. So it was considered a military target. It was bombed and destroyed.
Really?
Enough, yeah, by Americans.
We got a little noise in the background. We'll stop for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said it was bombed by Americans?
During the Second World War.
Okay, and then your dad and your uncle went into the business?
Then grandfather went on with the business, became a dealer of machine, then started to do a little bit of rebuilding, single spindle machine, Tarex, Index. Then father joined the activity, then later uncle, because he's younger than father. They worked together for a few years, then they split. After they split, the father was already working with ZPS as an agent, let's say, for the ZPS machine known in US as Euroturn.
And so mainly you guys were specializing in multi-spindles, Schutte,
Yeah.
Wickman,
The
ZPS.
activity always been from grandfather till now on turning. Originally was on single spindle and then evolved into the multis. In fact, before the acquisition of ZPS, there was the acquisition of Wickman and Wickman was in 90. I don't even remember, in 90, probably 92, 93.
Okay.
As a first step in production of machine.
Right. That was
And
the
then
first
later,
time you guys were making new machines as opposed to being used like us.
yeah, use or dealer for new, because the collaboration with ZPS started in 1991.
That's
So
interesting.
for the first 10 years, Fador has been their agent for Italy, Germany, and US.
I see.
So
So that's how
and
you
they
got the
were
connection.
Tell me, how was ZPS able to build a Hearth coupling machine? Was your father involved in developing the
in,
Hearth coupling machine for them?
no, the development they had already prior. My father knew the company. I think
Everybody,
they
wait, hold on, time out. For the people that don't know what a Hearth coupling is, give us the 30-second
correct.
version.
You want to have a precise, good multi-spindle, need to have Hearth coupling. That's everything you need to know when you go and buy a multi-spindle regarding Hearth coupling. Then how works the system is an assembly done by 3 concentric rings that help to keep the drum of the machine always in the right position. And when I mean right position, we speak about a few micron movement left or right.
Okay.
So and that's what we consider always been one of the feature of the machine.
Okay. So was your dad instrumental in developing that?
No, that was developed by ZPS already before. I
Okay.
think just a few years before. But when Fador saw the first time the machine made from Czech, they were already using Hearth coupling on I think already maybe on all of the model.
Okay.
And that's why he appreciated the machine, the rigidity and the Hearth coupling.
Uh-huh. And then
And the price was also very important. Coming as a dealer, the price actually probably was the most important things. But
Right, because of course there was Czech Republic, and particularly back then. Yeah.
and your father,
well,
being appreciating good values, bought Wickman when it was basically bankrupt, and he bought ZPS, I guess, when it was in very bad financial shape. Is that correct?
it's correct. Yeah, he loves opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them are good, so
What is one of the most important things you've learned from your father?
you need to love your job. Especially if you do the job that you never dream of.
Yeah.
Because my father told me that he never dreamed about, when he was young, about being in a machine tool business. I remember he was telling me that he was dreaming to be to make surgery, to make a chirurg,
To be a doctor?
doc,
A
be a
surgeon?
doctor, a surgeon. But then he say, okay, that was the dream you had when you were young. Then you start your life. He didn't like to study that much, so become a surgeon was basically impossible. And then he said, then when I got involved in a machine tool, because this happened, actually Fado started before a garage for repairing car. And then only a few years later, he started to join the activity with Fador, with his father.
So he didn't join right away. He didn't join in the
No, no,
family
no, no, no.
business.
For many years, he has been repairing car.
I remember
And
he always likes Cadillacs, doesn't he?
See, well, then you ask him again, and he will tell you, no, I never say that. So that's the other ability of Fador, to be a dealer. So one was, you need to love your job, and the second is do it not good, because of course you have to do it good, but do it in a way that you can handle, in the way you like.
Uh-huh.
Because these are the two things you need to be able to do the same job and enjoy it for a long time.
And how did it happen that you ended up coming to the U.S. and staying at our house?
Actually, Lloyd, I was thinking about it a few months ago, and I don't remember.
Well,
I
wait,
don't remember.
it was because we were distributing Wickman in the U.S. I mean, that was part of it.
Yeah, just before me coming, you were speaking about the first 626 to import in US, and but I don't remember who idea was.
I think it was mine, actually.
I think I heard it after discussion between you and my father.
Yeah, it just came to me one day in conversation with him, and I had said, well, why don't you have your son come live with us for a few weeks? And
For a certain period, I thought I was offered as a discount on some machine.
And how long had you been in the business when you came over? A couple years.
Oh, let's
You
see.
were-
So that was 99.
23,
See,
24.
a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was 20. I was 22 or 23, and I started 21. So yeah.
And you came over and stayed here. You meant to come for 3 weeks, and you ended up meeting a girl and staying like 3 months.
A bit more than 3 months. I think 4 months maybe.
It was because you liked working at Graf Pinkard, not because of the girl.
I think it was everything.
Yeah.
It was the work, working with you. The office, for me, was somehow not similar to Tajmac Milano, but again, it was a family atmosphere. The one in Graf Pinkard was much more strong because also everybody could work very close to each other, physically close to each other. But the principle is the same, family-operated activity. So it was easy for me to approach it because somehow I knew coming from Tajmac that at that time was a small company. The city, not that Milano is not modern, but Chicago to Milano, skyscraper on one side and a 1,000-year-old building on the other side, both beautiful but very different. The lake, and of course, the girl. That was the other reason, extending a little bit the time. And,
well, I remember it fondly. And,
Yeah, it was great.
oh yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. I found you really very open, engaging, wanting to learn, and just a really neat person to have around.
I mean, it was interesting because you guys we were distributing for you, but you were sort of a competitor at the same time. But it was fine. It was like an exchange.
And the competitive side has been always only on. There is some machine for sale somewhere in the world, and you both get the information from a different source.
Yeah.
It's part of the machine tool business.
Yeah.
All right. What were you gonna talk about with the? So as far as you, so you came to us and you stayed here a few months, and then you went back home. Didn't go to college. Just went. I mean, you went right into the business.
1 year of college.
Yeah.
With so poor result that it was better to stop and start to work. So.
Did your dad just say, "Hey, if you don't like it, come work"? Was that kind of how it happened?
Yeah. No, not come to work, but he never pushed us too much for university. He didn't do it himself. Mm-hmm. And he always told us, if you like to study and you want to do something in your life where you need to study, study. If not, important is that you will not be inactive. So you have to either study, either work. Choose. Yeah. Then you want to work in the company is a possibility. You can, but never force anyone to do that.
When your father bought ZPS, was the intention always that you would go to Czech to run it?
What year was that he bought it?
No, he bought it in, this year we celebrate 20 years.
Okay.
So it was bought in 2000. And I moved here at the end of 2001. So my company was bought in June 2000, and I moved November, December 2001. So a year and a half later, roughly.
Yeah.
And the thought was always that you would go there to run it?
Actually, Lloyd, I tell you not. It came out, I can tell you how my coming here came out.
Okay.
Yeah.
When we bought the company, I was here prior our purchase. I was here only twice. So, and twice in 10 years. So I didn't remember even how the company looked like. And when we bought it, father needed to spend a lot of time over here. So I had to stay in Milano because he cannot be on both places. So actually the first year that we bought the company, I was basically never here.
I see.
Father was here, Mr. Exeter, if you remember, was managing for us the activity for the first year, and father was going up and down from Milano. The experience with Exeter didn't end up the way we expected at the beginning, so I decided during a holiday, the 1st of November in Italy is called Tutti Santi, Saint holiday. So it was a long weekend, and I took a few of my friends and we went to Czech to have a good weekend. And I took the occasion to Zlin, and I took the occasion to show them the company and walk around. During that walk, I realized for the first time, I partially realized for the first time how big it was.
Mm-hmm. How many people were there?
I had no idea how many people were there. But then you realize really how big is it.
That is a huge factory.
How many people are there now?
In the area, it's 1,200. Plus there is some other smaller activity, but the people belonging to Tajmac, it's 1,200.
All right,
roughly.
but back then it was probably twice as many.
It was probably 1,400, 1,500. Mm-hmm. It was not that big. Don't confuse with the older ZPS. Before our purchase, the ZPS company was a much larger activity because it had several plants around Czech. So there were other brands that were belonging to the same group. But we took only the one over here in Zlin.
So you came out of vacation.
During that vacation, I was 25. And I told myself, I was single. I like my job. And I say, either I come here now or when. But more important, you understand that you cannot expect to understand the company from 1,100 kilometers away, especially when you are this big and what you need to know is that big.
Yeah.
And I couldn't expect father to do it. Father for a year and a half has been going up and down, but he never wanted to be there. This I knew it. That's why he chose Exeter. So I say everything match. For me, it's an opportunity. I love the city the first day I came here. Mm-hmm. The first day I came, I say this is a city where I'll be happy to live. Not everything in the city was good. Don't get me, but it was so different. So simple the city that it makes you feel comfortable immediately.
Interesting.
So I came back from the holiday. It was a 3-day holiday, 4-day holiday. And I say to parents that if they didn't have nothing against that, I'll take the luggage and go to Zlin. They say, okay. So I made the luggage and came to Zlin. We already had a flat, so I didn't have to look for. I didn't have to look forward to work. I didn't have to look forward to live. So you need a credit card and clothes, and you can go. So.
Okay, so.
But you weren't going to lead the company then, were you? At
No,
25?
no.
You were there to learn the company.
Exeter was still here when I arrived, but I arrived the same day as the new general manager that Father hired for replacement of Exeter. And that was the other reason why I say, is this the good time to come? Because the general manager was going to start in the following week. And I say, I think it's the best if I stay here when he is here. So I start to learn from him, understand him. Also, that one didn't work out that good. because
Was he Czech?
Yeah, I was a Czech. It was an extremely skilled manager. You could see how he was. He already had experience, long time in managing another large size company here in Czech. So for him, it was pretty natural to take care of it. But then I never established with him such a good relation. So after a year and a half again, I told to Father that I would prefer to go on trying to run in the activity alone without this.
It's a whole different culture. And you have to remember, I guess, this was 10 years after the fall of the wall. So that's probably been an interesting transition, changing the mentality, right?
I think the shock for the country was the first few years, but in 2000 was, let's say, the phase 2 of the revolution. The first 10 years, all the country changed, and then you slowly start to really integrate into Europe at the end, because at the end was integration into Europe.
How long did it take you to feel like you were comfortable in leading the company?
Well, I've been there 19 years, so I would say 19 years. I don't think I'm good leader of the. No, not leader. I don't think I'm a good manager, but I think I'm a pretty decent owner.
Interesting.
The difference really, for me, there is a huge difference between managing something that is yours and you know why you do it, and managing something that is from someone else. But as a manager, strictly as a manager, I don't think I'm that exceptional or I don't do any disaster, but I know many other much more skilled than me, especially on economy part of the company, financial. My knowledge is zero. Accounting, accountability, I know nothing about that. But if you speak about a multi-spindle, then I can speak about a multi-spindle.
And what about your language skills?
Right. I mean, how is your Czech nowadays?
Well, it got much better. I would say after so many years, it got much better. The grammatic still, I don't know the grammatic. I never studied that. If you don't know study that, it's like Latin. There is no way to learn it simply by even living here. And I decided many years ago that I was very bad in Latin also, so why not to be very bad also in Czech? And I will never learn the grammatic. But speaking, I would say today, no problem.
So your meetings are held in Czech?
Mm-hmm. Let's say if I have a very high important meeting, then I prefer still to do it in English. But for an everyday meeting, in Czech, yeah. A supplier come, I speak in Czech. If it's a Czech customer, I usually speak in Czech. Maybe if I'm with a bank and we have to speak about part of the contract, then I say, okay, explain me in English because I want to be sure what I'm signing.
So what are the machines you guys make in Zleen. Is all the machines that ZPS sells are made in Zleen? Okay, so you have the Manurin, the Swiss machine.
Let's say that in the Tajmac group, the only product that we don't produce in Czech, it's the BLT bar loader, cookie bar loader.
Yeah.
And part of the Wickman product that are done in UK, so what they call the Wickman CNC, and that are still produced in UK, in Coventry.
Okay.
All the rest is done in Zleen, partially in Tajmac-ZPS or in ZPS Geo, the rebuilding of the machine, for example. Okay. But in Zleen.
I remember you, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but I remember you telling me that one of the best products for as far as profit for you guys isn't the multi-spindles, it's the horizontal machining centers.
No, you remember wrong. No, the more profitable. It's even difficult to really say what is more profitable. If I purely look on the number, so how much material I have on a multi-spindle and how much I sell it for, is for sure the highest profitable machine I have.
Oh, okay.
But then you have to remember, okay, and now what I need to, how much cost me having the structure to produce a multi-spindle, and the effort is 10 times more than to produce any other type of machine because of the complexity of the product, how many parts are made for, and all the rest. So the fact is that you need to have this margin, because if not, it's impossible to do it.
What are all the machines you guys produce?
Then we produce a sliding head machine, the Manurin line. Manurin that we bought 2006, so 6 years after the purchasing of ZPS. Then we produce the original ZPS machining center, a vertical, horizontal machine, a multi-purpose machine, and gantry bed mill machine. So the product range is actually quite large if I include all the product. On top of this, we still work as OEM for a Negrebossi company that is an Italian producer of plastic injection machine. It's a small part of our activity, but we do also that. And then the Foundry, that beside producing the casting for us, produce casting for many other, mostly machine tool builder.
Right, it's one of the, I mean, there aren't that many foundries in, I mean, are there any foundries nearby in Italy or in Czech, or is it?
Yeah, there is other foundry, but we are one of the few machine tool builder with their own foundry.
Yeah,
this one is uncommon, or a little bit anachronistic. I mean, today if you want to build machine, you don't need to start with a foundry. At that time, they had to make also the casting, so you had to do everything. And for all of this product, we produce everything ourselves.
Interesting.
So casting and every other metallic part of the machine, including a sheet metal, cover, door, electrical cabinet, the cabinet itself, and the electrical assembly. So everything.
Do you think that's pretty rare? Like, do you think Tornos or Schutte or Index, do they outsource lots of their parts?
See.
That's what I would think.
Again, if I include, well, we have the full line from raw material to absolutely everything. This is very, very uncommon. Then many builder has their own machine shop. They machine the parts and they do the assemble. But including the foundry, not many. And in the future, it will be less and less.
Is this a good model?
Has not been good in the last 20 years. The trend was, don't do it. Buy everything, assemble everything, minimize the cost you have and the investment, and optimize on the design and the sales structure. Then you start to forget about how to make the product and how good has to be the product. So I think the way we do it guarantee a better product.
Interesting.
but it's not economically the best way to do it. And the responsibility for the people and the effort that you have to do for the investment, it's maybe sometimes too much for producing at the end machine tool.
So if an investment company came in to run ZPS, they probably would not run it the way you do.
No, they will probably separate more the activities than what we do. When we came here as owner of the company, the reason why we bought the company was purely the multi-spindle for us at that time, because that's why we needed the company. The other activity for us were completely unknown. We knew they existed, but we knew nothing about them. Maybe Fador knew a little bit about the Foundry, because in the Foundry he bought the Foundry a little bit before the purchasing of ZPS, because the Foundry never entered in the bankruptcy package that we bought. So that was bought a few months before. But in any case, he's not. Fador knew nothing about casting. He knew that the machine were made with casting, and for him that was enough.
How is the multi-spindle business now?
Fact is that if you ask me the same question for 4 years in a row, I will tell you 4 exactly different answers. So. And it's getting so confusing that also I don't know anymore if what would be the next year, because we go back a year and a half ago. The demand of machine was so high. You know, I was having phone call from Fador, from my brother, kind of screaming to me, why we don't produce more, that the world need more machine. And every builder of machine was in the same condition.
Yeah.
Everybody had delivery of a year and a half, 2 years. If I look the last few months, everyone even forgot that time. When you ask around, oh, but you needed so many machines before. No, it's not true. Nobody need anything now. It's
right. It's got to be tough, because you don't know whether to try to work ahead and to beat the competitors like that, or if you're gonna, lose your shirt because now you have all this inventory that you can't sell.
And
you need to be like an harmonic, you need to be able to, because that's the market. The consumption at the end is not that in the world people, the selling of car from 1 year to the other jump 50% or 70%. It never happened. But this happened in the selling of machine. Mm-hmm. There is a few years where maybe because the bank system has liquidity and money, so push everyone to buy, state make particular law for supporting the purchasing of machine. There is a few years where everybody spend, and then maybe there is a few years where it's very quiet. Mm-hmm. And you need to be able with a production to handle both this period. Because you cannot really squeeze and enlarge an activity of 700,000 people year to year. You need to have stability, because that's what you need for a constant production. And
does it help though that you have a few different categories of machines? So in case
it always helps.
In case automotive is down, you have the Manurin for.
This is the situation I'm living in the last few months. The multi-spindle activity has been slow. Luckily, instead, the machining center activity is running better than ever, probably.
Interesting.
So we are not in the automotive with the machining center, or very partially in the automotive. And it's not really the automotive. We are not in milling parts for the engine, because the biggest problem is the engine, not automotive. What is happening to all this screw machine company is that nobody asks any more parts for making diesel engine. So that one is disappearing, or seems to be disappearing.
Right. Or they're not sure if in 6 months they're going to be asking for parts for the diesel engine.
Correct. But if you produce parts for the brake or the door of the car, it doesn't matter if it's electric, if it's hybrid, if it's that one is based on the total volume sold by year.
Yeah.
I'm curious. You and your salespeople are constantly talking to people who are doing work for automotive, particularly European automotive, but American automotive and Japanese automotive. Do you, from what you hear, do people believe in the electric car? In the future of the electric car?
At the level of management I've been speaking with, no, anyone. I've seen a few people, especially in Germany, that believes a lot in sharing system of the car. Because it's true that the young
I didn't understand that.
In the sharing system, in the sharing cars.
Like
So in the
Uber?
car, in a car with no
hybrid.
pilot. No, hybrid. In a sharing car and car without autopilot.
Yeah,
So
okay.
really, the new generation, especially in Germany, that is the biggest market for car in Europe, the young guy don't really care too much to own a car.
Yeah. So they want a car available when they need it rather
They want a
than
car available when they need it. They will not spend the weekend washing the car and making sure it's shining or elaborating the motor, also because they don't know how to do it. So
I totally need to wash my car.
this has a consequence on number of cars sold, if it really would happen. Then electric, hybrid, or diesel, I think no one really knows. Of course, everybody is pushing for the electric for ecological reason. They cannot even prove you that ecological is better.
Yes.
But they push for it. The result, they create a kind of panic about the emission of diesel car. The Euro 6 car, as far as I know, as far as I read on magazine, has unbelievable low emission. So that doesn't look like is the real problem of the ecologically problem of the world that is on the car. So,
but it was a political problem for VW.
Yeah, but on a car produced quite a few years ago, the problem was not, it was that they were lying about what were the real emission. I hope that today the emission they say are correct. In any case, also about the electric car, disposal of the battery is something they don't really know how they're going to do. Yeah. And if the electricity you use in the car is produced with by coal, that is what they're investing, for example, in central part of Europe, then nobody can really prove me that is that much better. Plus, the country is not ready for it. No country is ready for it. Cars are very expensive compared to the standard diesel car. And this is creating the other effect. People don't want to buy a car now because they don't really know what they should buy. Mm-hmm. They don't want to buy electric because it costs more and has a lot of limitation. They don't want to buy diesel because they say, what if they don't sell me the diesel in a few years from now? Then I will have to buy another car again. Mm-hmm. So the people who used to keep the car more years, they wait even longer before deciding now to change the car. Myself, I'm waiting more than a year. I don't know what car to buy. Because I know I travel many times long distance. So I need a car available to do 600 kilometers without stopping twice for an hour.
Yeah.
So I should buy.
And this is in the United States. This is why there's a big question mark, at least for me, that the electric will be a huge factor in the market here, at least in the 5 to 10 year time frame. The infrastructure is not here.
But you can't even know what's going to be going in 3 years or 2 years. could totally shock you.
Right. Meanwhile, you have big investment by the automotive companies in electric, and very little investment in conventional.
Mhm.
And your potential customers also have a major question mark about what the future will be, and should they invest millions of dollars in your technology, I would think.
Generally, in which technology to invest? Well, we see part of the reason why our machining center division is busy now is production of electric batteries, battery for electric car, for making milling all the case where the battery are staying, especially the large one for trucks and for heavier equipment. We can see how heavily are investing in. Now they realize that if you want to sell electric car, you need to have the battery. If you don't have the battery, there is no car. So the investment there are very heavy, and they should, because with the current life of a battery and with the number of kilometers you can do, I cannot buy it. I cannot buy an electric car. Or as a second car, maybe for home, for short drive in the city. Then, me personally, maybe because I'm getting older, but I do like the sound of my car. I have a car with a 4-liter benzene engine, and I love the sound. I have been in electric car, and it's a little bit boring also.
Let's talk a little technical about multi-spindles. How are you guys different from the others? First of all, are you guys emphasizing the cam machine a little bit more than the other builders, Schutte or Tornos, or?
We made a decision a few years ago not to suspend the production of cam-driven multi-spindle machine. Little bit against the trend that the other competitors had. It was one of the best decisions we ever made. Not because the CNC is not what people expect. The CNC machines are doing exactly what they promised to do. They do complicated component, incredible tolerance, things that you could never even imagine before. But not all of the work for the multi-spindle is that kind of work.
Right.
And what about the rest? Some company come today and say, okay, thank you for that beautiful machine, but it's €1 million. And if I have to make this part, it will take me 30 years to pay it back. Plus I need an operator with the skills that I don't have. So, and for these people, you still need to offer a possibility that allow them to go on investing, improving their activity.
Yeah, otherwise they'll just buy a used machine. Because
otherwise, they will buy a used machine or rebuild one. In fact, the activity of a rebuilding machine in Europe has never been that strong, especially in a multi-spindle. There is now in Italy there is maybe 6 rebuilder that are taking. They're actually rebuilding machine to CNC because of the cost. This allowed a customer to have a similar technology with a much lower investment.
How much does a 32 millimeter 6 spindle or 8 spindle cam machine cost from ZPS?
Depend how good you are in squeezing me on the price. So.
Oh, this is classified information.
Well, I cannot say a number because not everybody say the number I will say, so better if I don't say nothing. No, you mean a rebuilt machine or a new machine?
I don't know, either one. Are most of the cam machines you sell rebuilt?
No. Most are still new. A new machine goes anywhere from €400,000 to almost $1 million, an 8 spindle full equipped. A CNC machine goes from 600, 650, very, very simple one, to 1.5 million, almost 2 million, an 867 for some of the crazy job that we sell it for.
Wait, and it's 867 not CNC, or those are the CNC?
Oh, CNC. These are
those
CNC.
are. Now,
it
is a CNC, I don't know, 32 millimeter CNC from ZPS, is that have the same capability as, the Gildemeister or the Index CNC? Does it have quite as many axes, or is it as full CNC, or is it a little more, in between a CAM machine and?
If we take a 6-spindle, as a top configuration, we do offer a higher number of axes, of driven axes and linear axes on the machine, because we have the possibility of using several y-axes to multiply number of tooling. So we can have 3 tools every position, plus frontal tool. I think we have been proving with the parts we do that we are capable to do more complicated parts than some of the competitors. Okay. The competition, we don't have to rely on who's competition or who's not. The leader of the market has been Index for many years. And for sure we'll stay Index for another time, especially on the CNC machine. Gildemeister just restarted now with this new machine. Schutte has been shrinking the number in the last few years. Tornos has been doing an up and down in the last 20 years. Now they came out also with a new line of machine. For example, if you take the Tornos machine, from the technologically advanced point of view, is probably the most advanced. Also because it's the last one who came on the market.
Those are pretty cool.
They are pretty cool. Also the look, they are very nice. Then this will go public everywhere, also in Swiss. Then maybe they're not that good in making the parts with precision.
If you say something and you want us to take it out, we can. But
okay, so then maybe if they are a piece of crap machine, but but they're actually not that bad. They actually offer
what they
something
told
very
me at
interesting.
Tornos. I was at Tornos in Chicago. I could not believe this. They, for the multi-Swiss, their multi-spindle, they will not sell the 4-meter bar loader. The machines are not made for the American bars. Did you know that? That's crazy.
When they showed the machine the first time at the show, they actually, the machine was sold with a limitation of 2-meter bar. You could not use more than 2 meter at that time. Now they extended to 3 meter, but they cannot handle 4 meter.
Wait.
I don't know why. I don't know if
came up with that. Not somebody who cared about the American market, clearly.
No, also in Europe, if I say to a customer that he has to cut every bar he has, he will tell me that, no. Simply they will tell me no. It's but the machine the look is beautiful. The look, I have to say, the design of Tornos always been amazing. Then if you think about it, when you open the door like that,
you can walk inside.
You can almost walk inside. The oil can almost fly outside. So always remember the machine are running with all. And in the technology of the last few years have been using more and more high pressure oil in the machine. So this generate every time inside the machine like fog of oil. So when you open a lot, yes, it's good for the comfort to enter, but also it's coming out all the not the dust, how you say the fog of oil.
Vapor.
Vapor, yeah.
So I'm curious about how you view the Asian market now. I'm talking about the Chinese market and the Indian market.
Right, you have offices in both of those countries, right?
Well, China for us is an experience that started just a few years ago, and we decided to start before with the Wickman product. because the Chinese market was, and is still probably not ready for the multi-spindle, not technology, because they can handle technology, but principle. The principle is do as much as you can on the smallest place you can have. And that's not China.
You're talking about like in a small space, just like a small building? That's what you're talking about?
Multi-spindle, what means high production? High production means that in the smallest spaces you can, you have to produce as much as you can. Multi-spindle is very compact with a lot of spindle and is making a lot of parts.
Yeah.
It has the disadvantage that to do this, it's complicated, because when you want to do this, it becomes out a complicated machine. So in China, still now, not in every case makes sense to do it. Many other times it's better you have the space, you have the people, put down 15 sliding head and do the job in a way that is for you more comfortable, not really more logic, because more logic will be buy one and make everything on one. But you still don't really know how to do it, and you still don't understand why to do it. Europe, land is very expensive. Imagine you have a building, and that's the size of what you have, and you need to produce more. I mean, my customer asks me 1 million of parts more. Not every time I can go and buy a different building. It's better to take out something that is less efficient and put something that is more efficient. You utilize better your space.
Interesting. Very interesting. How about India?
India, beautiful country, beautiful food, incredible industry. Again, India has a different problem. A price of a multi-spindle, unless it's a used or rebuilt, is out of question for 95% of the companies. It's coming, it's growing, but it's growing at a very low speed.
Interesting.
Compared to China, for example. But I have to say the Indian knowledge of multi-spindle is quite high. There is several companies with multi-spindle machine, and they really know how to run them.
Considering that they have than China, the knowledge.
Yeah, they know more multi-spindle in India than in China for sure. Yeah.
Interesting. So less money, but they know the machines better.
You know, in the United States, there's a lot of talk about China and now the problems in China. And China, over the past 25 years, has been a phenomenal success story economically. But people are now wondering if maybe China has peaked economically, and the chaotic model of India, but with the resourcefulness of the Indian people, that maybe the next 10 or 15 years may be where we see India rise up versus China.
It's a possibility. Sometimes I like to go to Las Vegas and gamble a very little bit of money.
You do love
I will
Las
still
Vegas.
Put them on China. They are always so strong that I will still bet on China. Maybe I don't get paid too much, but I most probably get paid. India, we have several customers now, and we start produce actually the manual machine in India for the Indian market.
Interesting.
In collaboration with an Indian builder called Galaxy. It's a private-owned company. They make lathes and machines and a vertical machining center. So we start a joint venture with them, and two of the model of the manual, and we are producing over in India, but purely for the Indian market, because there is a very high import duty for a product coming to India, so it's much cheaper in that case to produce over there. It's a phenomenal country, and the volume are like China. I mean, when you hear how many things they need to build, and not so much different but the organization and the state, it's not comparable. Not comparable to what is China is a everything there is pushing in the same direction. From the leader of the government to the people opening the door in a supermarket, they are all believing in it and going for it.
Interesting.
India is much more chaotic, and the improvement in the infrastructure that I've seen. I've been in India the first time in 2002, I think. Like in China, the same years I was the first time in China and in India. And if I go back today, one is a country that you simply don't recognize. I mean, you don't remember it was what you've seen years ago. India, you mostly recognize that you are in the same place.
Yeah, right. But
that's an interesting observation.
However, in China, you have the great problem potentially in Hong Kong and what Hong Kong means to China. And the lack of freedom in China may eventually come back to bite them. Don't you think?
I think so, but also too much freedom is biting US and Europe.
Yeah.
One of the aspects that I like here in Czech is that because of the history of the last 40 years, this is probably one of the part of the world really more stable, because it went from no freedom to freedom, and they kind of balanced themselves, at least these last two generations of people, especially the one that were coming out from the communist time. And then you compare with West Europe or US, where maybe sometimes really you think if we don't give too much freedom to people, because they don't really know how to handle all this freedom then. Yeah. Or China, where, okay, the freedom is very little, but the Chinese people are happy. Every time I've been there.
Are they?
Okay, not if you go in probably in the more far away farm of China, but I see satisfied people.
You do.
And people that
The
believe
people
that in the next
in Foxconn that are, jumping out of windows.
No, don't take exception. I mean, this is not all China. China is made also by a lot of medium-sized companies that are growing very good, not only giant. Then you have to see also, walk around the city and see if the people are relatively happy or not. And I've seen generally happy people. And if you ask them if they feel that in 5 years from now they will be in a better position, usually the answer yes.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Asking Europe, even in Italy, ask if in 5 years they will live better or not. Many people will tell you probably not.
Oh, I felt like in Italy, it's very negative.
Very negative.
Everybody's so
in Italy, life now is worse than 5 years ago, worse than 10 years ago. I don't know US, but I've seen also area in US where life is,
I think US really, it ranges in the different parts of the country.
Right, but you're right. Many people are negative here, even if they could objectively say life is better than ever. Mickey, great to talk to you. As we close this, I'm interested in whether you think that how much importance luck has been in your life so far.
Luck, to be lucky? No. Number one. If you're unlucky, there's really nothing you can do. I mean, if you're not skilled, you can learn. But if you're unlucky, how you fight unluckiness is, I will not know how to. And this, what a little bit scared me, because things can change. And then if you're not used to be unlucky, then it might be tough. But I've been lucky. I think I've been lucky.
That is interesting. I wouldn't have expected anybody to say that luck is everything.
No, it's not everything. But if something happened to be unlucky years of, maybe I would be completely different now. Maybe. So you need to be lucky that nothing happened to you, nothing happened to your close family, nothing happened to your activity you have. You do your best, of course, to to support your luckiness. I consider lucky the fact that I was born from my parents in a certain financial condition, that I think I used the best I could for my life then. No? But I was lucky about that. If I was born now in India or India, or in South Africa or anywhere else, I will not be here in Zlin now, handling this activity, and so lucky. Yeah, I've been lucky. But all of us in Europe, I think we have been lucky. Okay, everyone in a different level, but we are lucky that we live in an area where there is no war, or in an area where there is no.
I think you have good perspective. You have gratitude. Yeah.
I need to have a lot of gratitude, starting from my parents. And especially my father, of course, but also mother for family, because you need to be balanced on both sides. You know?
Well, thank you, Mickey. This was awesome, and I look forward to talking to you more soon. You got to come back to the United States sometime soon.
I don't even know when is the next.
We'll go out to our old haunts.
When is the next show in this year? There's no show in Chicago. No, next year.
Yeah.
And there will be not even Columbus. Now they move it to
Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland.
To Cleveland.
Yes. Yeah, there will be a show in Cleveland.
In Cleveland. This year. Might come in Cleveland.
Great to see you again. Great to talk to you again.
Yeah.
It was great to talk to you. I didn't see you because no camera, no web camera, but it was very good to talk.